Okay. So it looks like no beach for this park. Um, no beach access. There are other beach access points near here, especially if one has some form of transportation. You should be able to get to the beach. But if you're in this area, for some reason you want to skill, this is a good place to do it. Also, just to mention, we didn't really say it, but it's obvious. There's a lot of shade here. So if you like shade, then this is a good place for that. Definitely more shaded than most parks. This place has got tons of shade, especially in the later in the afternoon hours. Here's another view. You can kind of see a little bit of the Lake Michigan. That's Lake Michigan right out there. Real beautiful, beautiful lake. They do have the they do have it set up so that you're just getting a touch of it. You're not getting too close to where the beach would be. So I think that's interesting. They're basically like the way the landscaping and stuff is done. They're like, we're not like going to tease you too much with the lake. You can see it in the distance, but we're not saying, take a look at the beach. So the park is shielding, or it is a barrier to the beach itself. But like I said, there are other access points. So at the very least, good skill space that's near the plaza. This is Mahoney Park of Kenilworth, and I guess we'll head out this way. We came in the other way, and we'll just head out here. And we've got the balls on columns, which I think is quite quite appropriate. So it's like, it's as if it was meant to be. It's like these columns are skilling. They've been skilling for years and years. It's hard to get a good angle here. I was hoping to get a nice angle, but doesn't seem like I'm able to do that right now. You know what? Let's see if I can get a better angle. Because I just think this would be a nice screenshot, or a nice. It would be nice to have a nice picture, like a really good framing, a good display of these columns with balls on them. I'm sure there's other columns with balls other places, and I'm guessing usually for something like this, when you have a suburb, sometimes they make like this is one location that has the columns and balls, but in another location they'll make a series of them. So it could be that there is one set of columns and balls here, and then another set, maybe another set. There could be a total of 4 sets of columns and balls. I don't know. Could be. Sheridan Road is a very famous road in Chicago that goes, as you can tell, right along the lake. There's Green Bay, which goes along the lake, as well as Sheridan, and then there's Ridge Road. And the thing about Ridge Road, just as a little Chicago history or Chicago knowledge, Ridge Road was built. So we talked about Milwaukee. Milwaukee is also another road that goes along the lake, but it's pushed out quite a while, like maybe a couple miles, and that's where the Native Americans found a route to go between what is now the Chicago area and what is currently the Milwaukee area. Sheridan Road is like right here, like right on the lake. And it's newer. But then Green Bay Green Bay might actually start up. Actually, Green Bay goes to Evanston too, so Green Bay might be further west than Sheridan. So Sheridan, then Green Bay, and then there's Ridge, and then Milwaukee. So Ridge. What's interesting about Ridge is that Ridge is on the ridge. The road named Ridge is built on the part where like the highest elevation is of where the glaciers like pushed all the sediment up as they were moving through this area. So when they like pushed out all the sediment, it's kind of hard to really imagine. But so as the glaciers are coming in and freezing and they are just compounding and they're just getting bigger and bigger and deeper and more heavy and everything. It's like they're pushing all this sediment, all this land, all this dirt and stuff out of the way. And so they make this ridge, right? You can imagine that like that's the border around the glacier. And so basically what that tells us is that the Lake Michigan is actually like much lower than it would have been, or that where of it, it's lower than it could be, based on Ridge Avenue, I think, of where, because Ridge is built on that. So you would imagine that if there was tons more water in Lake Michigan, like a lot, then it would fill out to Ridge, and like that would be like the boundary. I mean, obviously, if it went over Ridge, then it would be something, like it would. That's just the Ridge is like the barrier, the boundary of where the water would go. We've kind of talked a little bit about watersheds and what's going on with water. It's important. This is probably the best we're going to get as far as getting them both in the same shot. So, I mean, it's still pretty exciting. I think I'm very. So it's like they're skilling. They're forever skilling. I also think it's kind of nice that they put the name of Kenilworth like inside, and so that you would think that they would like put it right there, but it kind of, it's like it's like a confident thing to do. It's like we're gonna put the name, and then we also have the sign here, which is probably newer, but we're gonna put the name like on the inside, so it's not gonna be on the outside. It also allows for like an economical thing. You only have to write it once on each capstone, mantle, if you want to call it that. So that's another reason. You don't have to write it like 2 times on each one. So it's economical, but it's also kind of like there's a confidence, because it's like you'll see Kenilworth as you're kind of going through it, but you wouldn't know until you've kind of like got close. Like if you're approaching on Sheridan, as you're going north or south on Sheridan, you may be like, oh, what's this? But only when you get close, then you find out it's Kenilworth. So, and look at this rounded structure as well. It's kind of unexpected that the apartment building would wrap around like that. So this is Plaza del Lago, and as far as we found a park, so. And so if you come down here and get some ice cream, get a coffee, which I don't recommend, because just be careful with your caffeine intake, I would suggest. That's a whole other thing. I don't want to be we're getting into, as we get further and further out into the skills-based territory, we might get into these sort of things like diets and things to eat, and I'm not saying never have caffeine, but all I'm saying is that it is definitely a stimulant for sure. So that's a fact, and it's diuretic. It will dry you out, so you will have lower hydration, and it'll be a stimulant. You will be stimulated. You will have a stimulanted. How do you like that word? a stimulanted feeling. I'm feeling pretty stimulanted. I just had a coffee. So that's the thing. So these are facts: stimulant and a diuretic. These are facts. So take it as you will. But if you come on down to Plaza del Lago, get some groceries. How about that? Or buy a necklace that you've been looking at or whatever it is, and you could go and do some skill. Pardon me. I'm getting a little dry myself. You can go down and do some skill. I think that pretty much wraps it up. I would just say my guess is that, you know, got to be mindful of our easements. These